Bee City. I don't know if many of you know, but we did become a Bee City affiliate in 2020. And that left us with the opportunity to really expand on our environmental programs, since this is an initiative that we work uh, for um, creating better habitats or increasing the habitats for pollinators. So it goes very well with our other, like I mentioned, environmental initiatives. And this is also a fun program for us because it's not only us neighborhood planning working with a community, it's also a collaboration with Parks and Recreation, which they were super helpful in helping us build our first pollinator garden for the city of Rowlett. And also Keep Rowlett Beautiful, who we have, we are always working with in terms of like anything that has to do with, beautification projects, landscapes, and things that again relate to the community, but closer to that environmental aspect or initiative. And this is what BCD USA is. We're getting close to finalizing a report for them, and hopefully working towards like next year goals, and building newer habitats for our pollinators here in the city, and also working on a policy to help those in the city of Rowlett that really want to create pollinator habitats and open spaces around their community. They'll have an opportunity to do that. So that is a little bit on BCD USA.
Liliana, just wondering, are bees the only pollinators that we have in the city?
No, no, no. We have butterflies. Um, Even hummingbirds are also pollinators. So not only bees, but what you do see most here in the city of Rowlett, or at least what I've been able to see on our gardens, is the various types of butterflies and bees, and an occasional hummingbird here and there. But I know there's a lot more. I am not the expert, but I do know that there's a lot more pollinators than what I'm saying and than what I'm telling you right now.
Oh, well, that sounds beautiful. So, what we have here next is our HOA legal clinic. It's not as fun as pollinator gardens, but it's very informational. This is an event which is part of our Tri City programs with the city of Plano and Garland. And we have various topics that range from governing documents, role and responsibilities, fundamentals of finance, and managing communication, meetings, association rules, and oftentimes providing legislative updates to our HOA neighbors in the city of Rowlett. Usually, this happens during the summertime. We just have confirmed our date for June 10th for next year for the 2023 HOA Legal Clinic, which City of Rowlett will be hosting. So keep up to date with that to know when the next HOA Legal Clinic is happening. Now, RDIC, neighborhood planning is a support to the RDIC. We support the staff liaison, which the Rowlett Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission is a 13-member commission charged with advising the City Council on various topics related to diversity, equity, inclusion. Also, the DEIC hosts various events such as MLK, Juneteenth, and Celebrate Diversity. And I have to say, the MLK and Juneteenth events were their first events in the city of Rowlett, so they actually did make history this year with those two events. And then they had their annual Celebrate Diversity, which invited all different cultures to participate in and showcase their culture and share with the city of Rowlett. Um, Tomorrow, they will be hosting an event, part of their education series at the library from 6:30 p.m. So it'll be a film viewing. Now, let's look at the block party trailer. Now we get back to the fun. The block party trailer. I have to ask: has anybody ever thought about hosting a party in their neighborhood? Our special guests can participate as well if they would like. No,
I have not.
you say that one more time, Chad.
I have not thought about hosting one in my neighborhood, but I'm familiar with the trailer. It's a very good thing to have for the city.
Yes.
We have a great turnout with the trailer. It's probably our, if not our most popular you know, thing or program that we have, because a lot of our residents really enjoy, just the opportunity to have, to use all what's in the trailer, just the tables and the chairs on its own. They're just grateful to have. And it's only
Very,
$35.
yep,
So
it's only $35, but
forward out
this
there.
is a good, yep, a good tool for you to get to know your neighbors. We actually will drop it off to your neighborhood and pick it up from there. And what you'll get in the trailer is 8 tables, 46 chairs, lawn games that include a giant Connect Four. Anybody play Connect Four recently? No? Thank you, Chad. Um, so it has those items in there and cornhole. Who's a big fan of cornhole? So it has cornhole in there. So you have different various games that you can share with your neighbors and also create a discussion and get to know your neighbors. I mean, if you didn't know your neighbors and then you throw a block party, I think your neighbors will know you then, as long as it's quiet. Um, so, also too, since about knowing neighbors, we also have Spirit of Rowlett. Liliana, you want to tell us about this fun program?
Yes. So just to be quick on this one, because I know we have a lot on our agenda today, but Spirit of Rowlett is one of those programs that, to me, it not only highlights an extraordinary person in the city of Rowlett, but it's very educational from my end, because I really get to know about these amazing things that our residents are doing in our community. For example, this past one that we have on the spring, it was like a mother and son duo. They love gardening, and sharing that wealth of knowledge with the community. So what we did is, we nominated them, and they were excited to have us. We did the interview in their garden. So while they were speaking to us about their love and passion for for their gardening, we were learning along with them, how, the ways that they plant things and why are pollinators important. So it's one of those programs that I really enjoy doing. And Tara, you can let me know a little bit about what you think, but it's definitely a learning experience from both ends, and it also gives our community the opportunity to really let us know someone that they appreciate having in their community. And that's what Spirit of Rowlett is all about. And we have our next interview coming up soon, so stay tuned. Visit our announcements page on the neighborhood planning website, and also stay connected with us on social media, #RowlettNP, and you will find out when this interview is going to come live. Next is also our Rowlett Smart Yard, and it's one of, like what I mentioned before. We have a series of environmental programs that we're building, and Rowlett Smart Yard is one of those programs that we have this year, in which we combine what we used to have from Yard of the Season and Texas Smart Yard into one program, and the focus is really on environmentally friendly hardscapes. If we have a neighbor that is really working on making sure that there's water conservation in their garden, that maybe we're planting more native species of plants, maybe we're, like, again, building those habitats for pollinators. We really, really want to reward that, because it's these programs and initiatives that are flourishing at the moment, that we really want our community to know about, and also uh, get excited to not only provide you know the well-being of our community, but also our environment. And with that, I leave Tara with City Academy, because I know she is excited to let us know a little bit more about that program that happened this year.
So this is a question that a lot of times neighbors wonder, like, how did my neighbor know so much about local government? Well, here in Rowlett, they probably were, or maybe graduate of City Academy, which we just graduated class 9 in August. And What City Academy is a 10-week program that has citizens sign up to visit with different departments in the city and visit with elected officials. Um, with that, it teaches them how individuals in the city organization work to create function every day, and how they deliver city services. I know oftentimes we go to the police, we go to the parks and recs, and we just added on the fire station and also visiting with our communications team as well. And this gives an overview of how our city interacts with each other and how place people you need to know and places to go within the city as well. So that is the end of what you may have missed. So hopefully with that, next year when these items come along, that you can participate with these items coming up again. All right, next slide, Liliana.
I am always excited to go visit one of our, the city academy with Tara when I can, because there is a lot of knowledge and a lot to learn about city government with city academy. So thank you for that. Let's move forward. Tara, do you want to go over the housekeeping rules before we get started?
Quick housekeeping rules. One thing that we want to just make sure that we do to make sure this program moves smoothly is we want to be respectful of each other. And also with neighborhood planning, it's always in the forefront of for us to be neighborly. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. If you see the icon button at the top, reactions, it will allow you click on that and you can raise your hand. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or you could do a little, hey, me, and we'll get to you. Now, if you have a question that we're not able to answer during this meeting or you want additional information, give us your contact information. We'll get you to the right person. So that is our housekeeping rules.
All right.
So thank you.
So next, let's do an icebreaker. I promise it won't take long, but I do want us to interact a little bit. We want to get to learn a little bit more about you, about your neighborhood, um, and just very conversational. 3 questions that I'd like for us to answer, and then we can move forward with the rest of our agenda. Okay, so for starters, how does your neighborhood serve you? And this is a question more related to what do you think are those amenities, and not only in terms of like services that are physical, but maybe relationships and networks that you have around your neighborhood that make it a fun, a great place to live. And if not, if you don't think that your neighborhood is serving you the way that you think it should, tell us why or how. And I'm gonna start writing your answers down to see if there's a theme that comes out of this conversation real quick. Does anybody want to start?
I'll go first.
Okay. Chad, you have the floor.
My first thought. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, how does your neighborhood serve you? When I first read the question, the first thing that came to my mind was not about amenities, parks, things like that. That's always great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but when you're talking about serving, I guess it's more like a serving attitude toward one another. That's how I think of a neighborhood. If you're in a good neighborhood, then you're neighborly. You're helping each other. You're sometimes depending on how well you know your neighbors. You're picking up your neighbors' kids from practice or taking them. Things like that. That's what struck me. By my first thought.
That I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I like that, neighborly. We always use that word, but but it's so funny you put it on the right context. So is thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Anthony, Tara, anybody? Just one word. It could be one word. Okay, Anthony.
I like the idea that Chad started with knowing your neighbors. I
Mm-hmm.
think people like to know what's in their neighborhood, who's there, not necessarily towards a safety aspect, but more towards if something happens to their house, they can knock on their neighbor's door and get the water turned off before they call the water department. Stuff like that, where you're not afraid to go over and approach your neighbor and ask for help. And then they might know more about the city that leads them to get city services there. And then communication starts building between them. So the neighbor serve is the communication that spreads between the neighborhood, and then they know about us.
I like that. Communication.
I agree very much so with both of what you had to say. That's very important to get to know your neighbors and know who's surrounding you and who you can communicate with and be social with, and also in time of need, just being them, having them to be able to help you. So we
Agreed.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Anthony. Tara, do you want to comment?
Well, I would like to go to how many times have you engaged with your neighbor?
How many times have you engaged with your neighbors? Um, I can
I
start
can
on that.
answer. Okay, go ahead.
Um, I am not gonna lie. The only times that I probably engage with my neighbors, um, is when I'm walking in and out the door, either to, go exercise or, and oftentimes I live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of my neighbors that have dogs. And that's typically how my conversation with them starts. Because of their dog, I'm curious about like, you know, you know, their the age of the dog, when they got the dog, or but it relates usually to that. On my other neighborhoods that I've lived on, it's probably more so in terms of like it's whatever you're doing at the moment. Like if you're exercising, they'll ask you something about, oh, how long have you been, walking, or it always relates to something or an activity that I'm doing. Um, but I wish it would be almost more organic, where I felt inclined to go and, at any point in time, go say hello to my neighbor, to versus me going when I kind of need something, or it's just like that interaction that happens for like maybe a minute, and then it's gone. So that is what I think about. But that's just my engagement with my neighbors, which happens daily, but I wouldn't say that I know their name.
Say the same for me, just getting out in the neighborhood, walking around, um, and visiting with people that have animals. That's a good way because we see cute animals and we want to pet them and see them and say, "Ooh, the cool trick you did," So that's kind of how I engage with my neighbors, or if they're sitting on their porch, just talking with them and seeing how they're doing,
Mhm.
just in general. So I probably would say I engage when not at work, engage with them maybe once a week. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tar,
Hmm.
for agreeing with me. Anyone else wants to answer this question, or we can move to the third one?
I can.
Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say that it's weekly for me, and it's a little bit different just because I have small kids.
Mm,
So they go out in the front yard, they play football. The neighborhood kids come out and play football. So I do know, like, uh, the majority of we live in a cul-de-sac, so it's kind of like the majority of the neighbors I do know their names, and we've talked. But I just think that's really important because I want them to I want to know who they are at least.
yes, I agree. Me too. I wish I knew at least their names, but it's just getting that conversation going. Anthony, were you looking to say something?
I was going to say something about mostly the engagements go where people are in their front yards. They're doing
Hmm.
things in their front yards. They're working in their yard. They have something in common with the neighborhood. They are putting themselves in nature. whether that's walking daily and they see them walking. You mentioned the dog
Mm-hmm.
as a starter. So I think that depending on how much you're outside in front of your house is how much engagement you have. So I think it depends on the weather.
Yes.
Depends. So we're going in the fall. It's going to get dark soon. I think that's going to reduce the amount of people. And then in the springtime again, you'll see people staying out longer, more kids moving around, warm weather, people moving about, so that you engage them more. So I think that's important, is people being out, people being available and being seen on a regular basis. It makes me feel more comfortable when I say, man, they walk a lot. Every day I see them walking around the same time. I wonder what they do. I wonder if they're
Mm-hmm.
retired, and start conversations with them. So making yourself available sometimes opens the door for people to come and approach you to communicate. And then that's how you know about a lot of things in the neighborhood and then through the city.
Agreed. Thank you for that. Thank you both. Do you want to move forward with the last one, Tara, or do you want to just,
Yeah.
because I know we're running out
Well,
of time.
we can just do this one real quick. Just name one thing when you
Okay.
see out in the neighborhood. Just fire around. I see sidewalks.
Gardens,
Neighbors.
neighbors. Anthony, what do you see?
Lots of cars.
Cars. Cars. That's true. Um, so yes, to end this icebreaker, this statement, I think we're all in agreement that what makes a great neighborhood or somewhere where we want to live, it's not only the physical characteristics of our neighborhood, um, which in my opinion, it does add to the willingness of us to wanting to be outside and engage, right? But I think the social bonding and aspects of a neighborhood is what truly makes it a great place to live, like knowing your neighbor, wanting to be outside and engage with each other. And I think amongst what we've been saying, it is important to us. It's just that sometimes either we don't have the time or we're not comfortable engaging with who we live around. But hopefully this exercise gets us to kind of like start to think about it and maybe think of ways to engage with um, who is outside our front door. So with that,
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
we don't have anything
Thanks,
else to say,
Liliana.
I'm going to move
Yeah.
forward.
Yep. Move on to the next.
Okay.
The one thing that I think everybody's been waiting for. You had a question, we got an answer. So in June, we received comments in our comment box about certain topics within the city. And today we brought some guests here that will help us answer these questions. So, question number one, or statement number one that we received in our box, was dealing with homelessness population and what is being done. So, today we have Mr. Caldwell, Chad, with us, and he will be giving us a little background information about what he does with the city and how he helps with supporting this topic as well. So, Chad, if you would like to provide some background and then tell us what's being done or how we are uh, handling this topic.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So I am Chad Caldwell. I'm a police officer with Rowlett, and my position is a crisis assistance officer. I'm part of the crisis assistance program, and the program consists of two officers and a licensed counselor. And what we do is, one, help anyone and their families that are in a state of crisis. Sometimes it may be mental health related things, it could be addiction related, it could be lots of things, but we get called in and we kind of assist, we conduct follow ups and just check on the family to make sure they don't need anything. And if they do, we can offer resources, advice, and sometimes just lend a friendly ear to somebody that may not have anyone else to talk to. Uh, so part of the program also that we've been tasked with is we're homeless liaisons for the city. So anything to deal with that topic kind of falls in the lap of our program. So in a nutshell, because I know we don't have a long time, we started really this initiative of trying to make a difference, resolve these things in January of 2021. We, on a bi-weekly basis, at least, go out and we do sweeps of the city. We have like rubber boots, we walk through the woods, we do all these kind of things looking for homeless encampments, things like that. Um, a lot of times we get notifications or emails from citizens saying, hey, I think I've seen a tent down in this area. If it's on private property, we work with the property owners trying to help them get it cleaned up. If it's on city property, we post signs, we do things like that, and we follow the policies and procedures accordingly to um, get it cleaned up, the area cleaned up. But having said that, the most important thing that we do is, I know that panhandling is a big issue in Rowlett right now. I get emails on it, I get calls on it. We make contact with these individuals almost on a daily basis. Every single time we make contact with them, we offer assistance. We have cards that we've made out. We've worked with Metro Relief. We've worked with Community Council of Greater Dallas. There's lots of organizations that we work alongside, and they help us out because we want to offer them assistance. We only want to offer them resources first and foremost to get them the help they need. Many times, to be honest, they decline that assistance. Um, we've heard that I don't want to go to a shelter. I don't want to do this. So, we do the best we can. I do think that one thing that needs to be addressed, that I know dealing with the citizens and when I talk to them, one thing is really important to remember in this is homelessness is not a crime. It's not against the law to be homeless. So the main thing we want to do is offer assistance. We want to get them help. We want to get them back on their feet. And we do have success stories. I just got a message the other day from, I had worked with a lady and she is now in a program. They're getting her counseling. They're getting her the assistance she needs. When we first started this, underneath we call it the Muddy Creek Bridge, 66 on Lakeview Parkway, we had numerous homeless encampments under the bridge. It has all been cleaned up since, but one of those individuals that we worked with is now currently in Oklahoma. He's got an apartment and he's working construction jobs. So, I mean, we do have these stories and we do the best we can to help everyone. So that's what we're doing. I can tell you since January 2021, we've collected over 7,000 pounds of trash. We keep records and data on these cleanups. And we've done email blast to businesses. We've done social media blast, Facebook, things like that, trying to educate the public in what they can do to help, because homelessness is a community issue. And a lot of times we spoke to a gentleman not too long ago, and he told us that the reason he comes to Rowlett was because he was told from other people in Dallas, if you want to make good money panhandling, go to Rowlett, because that's where you make the most money. And that in itself is not helping to resolve the issues. If citizens want to give money, if they want to give assistance, they can get in touch with me, they can get in touch with Officer J.J. Jones, and we can help them find the organizations, the charities, things like that actually work with these people or these individuals to get them back on their feet and get them the real assistance they need. A lot of times, and I understand, and there's a lot of compassionate people, and trust me, we appreciate it, but a lot of times just giving money directly isn't helping resolve the overall issue, if that makes any sense. So that's what we're doing. I know that, like I said, we keep track of all these things. Pretty soon, we're going to be doing a point in time count, which is You go and count how many homeless individuals you have in your city at a certain point. Every one of those people that we contact, that we will contact, first and foremost will be offered assistance and resources to help them. So as far as the citizen side of it, like encampments, things like that, I know some of these have been on private property. Like I said, they just need to reach out to us and let us know, and we will be out there quickly to help them with any needs or any resources the citizens need to help us resolve the problem or the issue.
Very nice. That's some very helpful information that a lot of neighborhoods will be glad to receive and hear about. So if they have, say, a camp near them, that they can reach out to you, Chad, Officer Chad Caldwell,
Yes,
and provide assistance, help assist that individual that may need help as well, as
yes,
much as
ma'am.
we can, the resources that we have here in the city.
Yes, I believe Liliana has my email. My work cell phone number is 469-497-8873. Uh, I've received lots of phone calls, lots of emails from citizens regarding issues with homeless individuals, or sometimes it's how they can help. Sometimes it's complaints with them, walking in the roadway, things like that, But so we try to get out there as quickly as we can, once again, to help first and foremost, and then go from there about what we can do, to move forward.
Well, thank you, Officer Caldwell, for your time and for answering that question. I know a lot of neighbors are wondering about, because they sent in a question asking about homelessness, but I feel like that clarified a lot of things that for a lot of people that don't know what's actually happening. But we do appreciate you
Yeah,
taking the
and
time
I
to
understand that we get a lot of
provide
those
us with
calls
that
as well.
information.
Yeah, we get a lot of those calls as well, but I just want everyone to know that it is being addressed. Assistance is being offered, and we are doing the very best we can, but it's going to take everyone working together to try to, resolve the issues and get them the help they need.
All right, well, thank you. And we'll get that word out there as well. Thank you again. So our next question that we had here, or statement that was provided, was traffic enforcement and neighborhood safety, including traffic. So here we have Lieutenant Anthony Castelloni, and if I mispronounce your last name, please correct me. Just want to make sure we get it right on the record. So is he's here to talk about traffic enforcement and neighborhood safety. And if you could provide a little background as well, um, Lieutenant Castelloni, that'd be great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Like she said, my name is Lieutenant Anthony Castiglione, police officer, City of Rowlett, and I'm assigned to the traffic unit. Traffic enforcement is a broad statement, so I'm kind of going to generalize it. If there's a specific question that you want answered, please reach out to me at any time. And my email is castiglione@rowlett.com. So traffic enforcement. We put friends and family on the roadways, and we expect them to be able to get to and from places safely. And we want that to happen. And they have to travel on roads with other people. And there are rules of the road. There are signs, and there's lights, and there's rules that people have to follow. And that is to ensure people can go to and from and conduct business and pleasure, see friends, traveling families for holiday, and we want to make sure everyone arrives there safely. So to do that, sometimes traffic enforcement happens, and that is to protect the citizens on the road and to keep people safe and get them where they want to go. Traffic enforcement usually tends to be negative, as there's a penalty associated with a crime or something like that. Most of them are Class C misdemeanors. They're citations. The Rowlett Police Department has 4 ways to deal with Class C violations. Most people know of a citation, that's a ticket. The other is a warning. Realize that all that is to correct a behavior, And it's to ensure people follow the rules of the road that are established, that are a common ground for people to drive on and operate, so you know what to expect and provide a reaction time for other drivers. So that's the general rule of traffic enforcement. It's to hold everyone accountable to the same rules, so we're all playing the same game while we're trying to operate our lives on a roadway. Sometimes the structure of the road plays a part. Realize, in the city of Rowlett, all the roads we have are not all ours. Lakeview Parkway, State Highway 66 is a state highway, and it's run by TxDOT. TxDOT lets us do certain things on the road, but everything the city of Rowlett tries to do is address problems, concerns, and one of the intersections we have, we're working with TxDOT to change, because we know it's a problem area. People violate the law there, and we're trying to change it. So it takes work and time with TxDOT to change that section of roadway. When you talk traffic enforcement, it goes then to neighborhoods. A lot of times we get calls about cars, a high volume of cars traveling through a residential street, and they're alarmed by just the high volume. The high volume of cars alone is not a violation that we can do anything about. They call it like a cut through. Sometimes I get emails that say it's a no through. It's a no through street. It's a residential street. They shouldn't be cutting through here. They do not live here. Well, there's no violation for operating a motor vehicle on a public roadway. So we're not concerned with the volume right now. We're concerned with maybe the speed that they're going. That's another part of it. Once you park cars on a residential street, you already narrow the vision of the driver and the people that live on the street as well as they operate, maybe go out and check the mail, maybe kids actually cross the street to go to a friend's house. So it appears that cars travel faster because it's a narrow roadway by cars parking on both sides of the road. So a lot of complaints come in for traffic enforcement in those areas. We deploy a speed trailer. The speed trailer displays the sign, the speed of cars coming towards the trailer and then away from the trailer. It does not display, but what it does is it records. So that means when the speed trailer is deployed, it will count how many cars were on the street. It will tell us the average speed. It will tell us the individual speed, but then we'll get the average speeds, and then we'll get the time of day and actually the date. So we can then utilize the resources to put officers in that location when it meets a certain threshold. For us, it's the 85th percentile is where that's when I say something needs to be done and we need to put an officer in that area. A lot of times I get emails about kids and hazards and crashes and stuff like that. So in doing that, I actually pull up some data of how many accidents we have in a certain area, and that's a factor in determining how we utilize our resources for traffic enforcement. We do the speed trailer, then we pull accident reports in the area. The emails that address about children playing in the roadway, I can't really base my decision making off that because the roadway is made for cars. That's what the roadway's for. It's for cars, and a pedestrian who enters the roadway has to yield to a car unless they're in a designated crosswalk. So that's where we're kind of in some area there. Does that kind of answer the question for basic traffic enforcement?
It does for basic traffic enforcement. And I think it also touched on the neighborhood safety, including traffic, as far as children playing in the traffic in the roadways as well, that you stated if they're not in a crosswalk, you kind of can't control that.
So there's a lot of construction going around. So once the citizens figure out a way to cut through to relieve themselves from being in traffic to get where they want to go, because in their minds, I believe we put an obstacle up. We put a construction plan, engineers approve it. This is the safest route to be diverted. And we're trying to make the best decision we can with all the tools, but still we're inconveniencing people from their normal patterns and routines. So it takes time to adjust and to figure out a safe way to go to and from work, to and from school, and conduct daily routines. And we throw an obstacle. So their initial reaction is to probably figure out different ways to get where they want to be and be on time. and they have to figure that out. And that might mean that they travel down a street faster until time works itself out. Lots of construction going on all the time. And as we move pieces of the city to develop it, we got to be patient with the citizens learning that as well and what we're doing to what they consider their daily routine.
So is it safe to say that residents can reach out to you sometimes just to inform you of what's going on in the streets, or and you would be able to help let them know where you if it's a roadway that has been listed as putting a speed trailer out there?
So if someone asks for the speed
Mhm.
trailer, or they tell me that there's a problem with the speed, necessarily I put it on a list. So right now the list has 5 locations on it right now. It went out today, matter of fact. And when that information comes back, I download it and it's on SharePoint, and we can actually issue that out. People can ask me for the data and have asked me for the data, and I've shown them the data of it's being out on their location for 5 days, and it had 23,000 cars pass, and the average speed coming towards southbound and leaving northbound, here's what the data shows. And the only time we'll probably utilize our resources at 5 p.m., on Fridays and Saturdays. That shows where the most violations are occurring so that we can make the biggest impact. And please mean that doesn't mean citations. Sometimes that's just educating, being seen, and making people aware that we're in the area. And that could be even on social media. As a motor officer, we love Waze. People will mark us on Waze and show police enforcement, and people are like, well, doesn't that make you mad? No, they're actually helping me. They're helping me do my job, and they're keeping me safe. Because remember how we started the traffic thing? The idea is to keep everybody safe, to follow the same rules, right? That's what we're trying to do. So by putting the police part on Waze, they're helping us out.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Castelli. Yes, we want to. I'm glad that you have safety is the first thing on your mind when it comes to traffic enforcement. That's very important, and we do appreciate that. That's on your in the forefront of your mind when you're doing traffic enforcement. Um, so we have about 10 minutes left. I didn't know if anybody else wanted to share anything else with us this evening, but I do appreciate our guests coming today and being participating in our game today and telling us about neighborhoods and also giving us some insightful information about homelessness in the city and traffic enforcement in the city. And I've learned a lot just within this few 20 minutes that we've been here talking about that. So that's a great thing. And I'm glad that we'll be able to share this with the neighbors as well.
Thank you both.
Thanks
So
very
are
much.
we ready to move forward, Tara?
Yes, yes.
Are
Go
there,
with the
okay,
next slide.
okay.
So we initially start off with the things that you missed, but today we have things that are upcoming that you don't need to miss because they're upcoming. So we have the Rowlett Preparedness Fair, and I'll let Liliana elaborate on that because the famous block party trailer will be at this fair as well. But Liliana
So,
has some other
mhm.
important information about this fair.
So the Rowlett Preparedness Fair is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's really an opportunity for you, the community, to come out and learn a little bit more about what to do in times of an emergency. And the reason why you'll also see us there, and you're going to see us at several events throughout the year that may not be hosted by us, it's because somehow in some way it relates back to community and neighborhoods. And this is one of those events where we get the opportunity to share with you all, or not only us, but the city gets to share with you all why is it important to be prepared in times of an emergency. And this doesn't necessarily just have to be for a time where we come together because of a natural disaster. It could be for anything. And at the fair, we want to provide you with the tools and the opportunity to network, to get to know who you can call in times of an emergency, or the resources that you have available. So if you have some time this Saturday, we would love to see you there. Come by our booth. We'll be in there sharing some of our neighborhood planning, neighborhood tips when it comes to how to uh, in times of an emergency. How do you engage with your neighbors? How do you ask for help if you need to? So we are looking forward to seeing you there. And the week after, we're also having another event. We are looking forward to seeing you all, and Tara will expand a little bit more upon what the neighborhood summit is all about.
So the Neighborhood Summit is part of our Tri-City programs that we have with Garland and Plano. And this year, Plano is hosting the Neighborhood Summit. And this year's theme is with the speaker, Mr. Yoram Krom, and he will talk about effective leadership within building trust through leadership within your neighborhood. You can find more information about this event on our webpage, Neighborhood Summit, and also you can sign up. They are also offering free breakfast for this at this event, and also if you sign up early, you may get a T-shirt as well. And also some raffle prizes will be given off as well at this event. And also it's a time to get to know your neighbors, not just here in Rowlett, but also within Plano and Garland as well, with some pretty interesting topics that will help you in your neighborhood become sustainable and long lasting. Oh, and also too, if you haven't noticed the scarecrows around downtown, the voting is still available to vote on your favorite scarecrow. You can go on our webpage and vote. It's easy. One, two, three categories that we have. So you want to vote for the best Rowlett scarecrow, freestyle scarecrow, and a third scarecrow. So go ahead and vote for those. It's fun. It's a fun activity, and hopefully next year you'll participate as well in the Scarecrows on Main. So as we move into the holidays, we got some things coming up that you can also participate in with Light Up Rowlett. So go ahead, Liliana, tell us about Light Up Rowlett.
For those of you that don't know, Light Up Rowlett is one of those um, Christmas events that get us all excited. We always enjoy, the our neighbors' decorations and home light shows. And this is what this program is all about, to really showcase the home lights around Rowlett. If you have someone in mind that decorates their home beautifully with lights, and it's just the joy of the neighborhood, we would want to hear from you, and then just to showcase your neighbor's yard or your neighbor's light show. Um, More information in regards to the application period and the voting period will be coming soon. So like I said again, stay tuned with us. We have various outlets that you can communicate with us, and also ways that we share information with you all. The most active would be our social media, Rowlett NP. So stay tuned, follow us, and you'll find out more information about Light Up Rowlett this year. It's coming mid-November, early December. And finally, we have a new program alert for next year, and I want Tara to talk a little bit more about what that entails before we move forward.
So we have a new program, and it's called Neighborhood Discussions that we're starting to ramp up. And this program is, we want to learn about your neighborhood. So we will have these discussions within your neighborhood about your neighborhood. And that's pretty much a nutshell of what it will be. But we want, most importantly, for you to tell us what's happening in your neighborhood so that we're aware and that we can make the right assessments. So neighborhood discussions coming soon next year. Be on the lookout for it so your neighborhood can participate in this program. And it'll be a fun, exciting adventure. I mean, we'll have certain activities as well going on during this neighborhood discussion. So just be on the lookout for it. I won't spoil any surprises. Thank you, Liliana.
Thank you, Tara. Okay, moving forward, really quick, just tips on stepping into the holidays, and just kind of like the same topic of engaging with the neighborhood and neighbors around this time of the year. Us neighborhood planning, we wanted to leave you with a little bit of what you can do. Maybe you're doing this already. I'll just recite three things that that we recommend you doing during the holidays. Again, light up Rowlett is the one that first comes to my mind. I really enjoy just watching, what you share with us in terms of like the lights around your neighborhood and what gets people excited on like decorating their homes and like putting the lights up. So that's really a fun one for me, and I think it's a time where we really get to meet our neighbor because we're outside watching all the lights. Another fun one to do if you're inclined to do it is baking something and sharing it with your neighborhood. Maybe it's cookies, maybe you make a great banana bread or a pumpkin bread. Things that start a conversation. Lastly, because I won't read through all of them, is just attend a holiday event. We have several around the city. I'm sure there will be family parties and also neighborhood parties that you can engage in. Maybe you want to rent the block party and have a pre-Christmas celebration. Things to, share in a time where there's a lot of warmth and joy surrounding our communities. It's that opportunity to maybe start to get to know each other. Um, do you
Uh,
do you have anything to say about our step into the holidays, Tara, or our guest speakers before we
I,
leave?
I think these are great tips to move us forward. We do want to look. We do want to hear about your holidays afterwards as well to tell us how you implemented these steps in your holiday. So email us,
Absolutely.
let us know. We're open to it. We have our Instagram. Send us a message on Instagram or Facebook, and let us know how your holidays are going and how many neighbors you have met and how many neighbors you have enjoyed your holidays with as well. And don't forget to do Light Up Rowlett Award. That's the most
Yes,
important thing. That's a lot of fun within the city.
absolutely.
Thank y'all for having us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you for being
both.
here and staying with us.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good
Bye,
night.
You
everybody.
too. Bye bye.